All right. So here we are.
Spotify listeners, give us a rating and review.
Absolutely. Now that you can do that, we have no idea what effect it has, honestly, at all.
Probably zero.
Probably none. But since it's possible to do it, and we had a listener today actually tag us on having done it. I think that was Keith Honeycutt.
It's weird to me
listener.
that content is like such a normal thing now, right? Like YouTube was a thing of the Ute.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. 10 years ago, only randos watch YouTube.
Right.
Even 5 years ago, only like young people watched it.
Yep.
Same with TikTok now, and it's evolving into older Facebook.
Right.
It's only for college kids, then high school kids, then everyone's on Facebook, right? It's the evolution of new platforms. But you take Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Twitter's kind of in a world of its own. But you take some of these main guys,
Yeah.
and it's weird to iTunes. It's weird to me that there's not a standardization of searchability.
Right.
And there's not a standardization of like ratings. Maybe they'd have their own individual ratings. I understand because they're different companies, so it's not all one place like a Yelp or something. But it's weird to me. It's all so different still. And I understand that they're their own companies and they have their own thoughts or whatever. But you would think some of those things like searchability, SEO stuff, titling-ish thumbnails things, ratings and review type things, ranking type things. They could keep it on their own platform, but you would think it would be more similar. Like the NBA and NFL have similar ass shit. They have similar announcing styles. They have similar all-star games, right, where they have like a quarterback throw. Then they have the dunk contest. They have all these agility tests.
Are the Hall of Fame criteria kind of similar?
I not guaranteed, but I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all fairly similar. And maybe there's small tweaks, but generally speaking, it's similar-ish. Yeah, it just makes no sense. Like the pregame, game, halftime show, like all that's kind of a similar format.
Right.
I guess the format's what I'm looking for. It's weird to me that there's no format in the rest of this shit. And YouTube would probably be the one I would copy if I were the other places.
I remember back when YouTube was in its early days and you couldn't upload more than, I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. And for a long time, you couldn't upload any HD content at all because it was just too big.
Yeah.
The YouTube facility that's in the sort of Brisbane area in the Bay Area has like the original YouTube server.
Yeah.
And it just like lights are going off. It looks like Star Trek.
I've seen
like
some
old Star Trek.
Yeah, I've seen some of the servers in New York. Yeah, I mean, but it's just also evolved so much, and now it's all like mainstream.
Yeah.
Right? Like even HBO Max or whatever, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Netflix, you click on it, and generally speaking, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
Like how you search is the same.
Right.
Scrolling up and down, there's like new, trending, whatever. Like it's all kind of the same.
Yeah.
So why aren't these other, like more social medias, if you'd call them,
more on top of that?
I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Like Spotify's just getting a rating system? The fuck is that?
Well, just getting a rating system for podcasts. I think maybe it existed for music before.
I don't think so. I think there's like a like or don't like.
But they just spent like hundreds of millions of dollars acquiring podcast companies and essentially podcast content.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously have a lot invested in podcasts and a lot invested in their platform. What I do like about their platform is that their podcast and music's like the same shit. Like in terms of searchability and like, you know, like it's not confusing. Yeah. You search a name and the podcast's going to pop up. And if a song has the same name, it'll also pop up and you just click. But yeah, they don't have like, I don't think they have I don't know, actually, maybe I'm way off topic here, but I don't think they have like a ranking system like Apple Podcasts or anything like that.
They don't now, but they may be headed that direction. It's not really clear to me. I've seen I got the notifications and I got, it's sort of there's a Spotify for podcasters, like a separate website that you can go to, and if you're a podcaster, and
like the back end.
And I don't even know. I'm not even sure exactly right now whether we're feeding Spotify the show directly ourselves or if it's coming off of our hosting. I don't know. I should probably know that in case we like ever change hosts or whatever at any point. But so anyway. Rate.
Yeah.
I don't think there's review. I think it's just rating. I think it's just like a star rating. So
it won't hurt. Yeah. So help, please.
Yeah. a very small percentage of our listenership is on Spotify at the moment, but Spotify is growing.
I mean, obviously I use it for music, so then I use it for podcasts, but I feel like a ton of people use Spotify.
Yeah, I think so too. I remember years ago, somebody as soon as Spotify became available in America, a friend of mine was like, Spotify's going to dominate everything.
Yeah,
it may take a little while, but it's going to dominate.
I used Pandora when I was in like college.
Yeah, and that just
seems like they kind of died.
It seems like, the CompuServe or AOL of music at this point. I mean,
yeah, I don't know anyone that uses it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is it Tidal who tried to make a run? Jay-Z's company?
Yeah, tried to make a run that didn't happen. Crazy thing, like I think Neil Young has a site where you can listen to super high quality versions of his music, and I think it's just his music.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, but that's all. Obviously, he doesn't want to go into a deeper business model.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody wants to have like the best quality stuff, but to a certain extent, people don't even know. They don't. They don't.
Well, and because then it like funnels down, right? It's like everything else. Like if you're if you have a shit car, it doesn't really, right? You could be streaming the highest quality stuff, but if you have crappy speakers, who cares? It's all going to be dumb.
And there's a big difference between listening on like headphones like we've got, or in-ear monitors like I'm wearing right now, or AirPods or anything else. There's a huge difference. And like I know that people who produce podcasts for a living can be super anal about, let's say, edit podcasts and produce them for a living for other people. Sure. Just super anal about testing on different environments or whatever, but there's only so much you can do, and most people don't notice. Most people aren't paying
you only know what you know. Like my TV in my room is like 15 years old, maybe older.
Really?
Yeah, it's old as shit. And 10 years. And my TV in my living room is huge, fucking brand new, 8K, blah, blah, 4K, blah, blah, sound bar, all this shit.
Yeah.
But if I don't watch TV and I only watch in my room, I can't tell. I don't turn it on and be like, wow, this is shit.
Yeah.
But if you compare.
Yeah, and you might watch it on an iPad or a TV screen, a laptop screen or whatever.
I'm on my phone all day and that's like fine.
Yeah.
But until you don't know. And if it's a podcast, like I think, and everything, music too, but there's like a diminishing returns.
Yeah, and there are so many podcasts that sound like shit.
Right. Yeah, you just can't sound like
popular.
Yeah, you just can't sound like shit. You don't have to sound perfectly.
Yeah, shout out Tim Ferriss's podcast always sound like shit. So we held a meet, and we want to talk a little bit about like kind of the process that we went through and lessons learned a little bit. I'm just going to, in the background, if you were watching the YouTube version of this, I'm going to run the meet footage in the background. We will probably not comment on everything here, but we are going to do a quick video of our top 3 men and top 3 women video separately after we record this, and it'll be up on YouTube in the next day or so. So here we go.
Someone asked me the other day, I was doing like a Q&A, and they asked which a question we've like probably answered before, but my answer was different this time. I think someone said like, what was the most difficult or the biggest challenge, like opening a gym, or maybe it was running YouTube or whatever it was, but and obviously you can bring that, and I brought that everywhere. I was like, there's never anything that's like a big challenge. You know what I mean? It's like
it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's all the little shit.
It's like speed bump after speed bump. There's nothing, whether it's YouTube, my lifting career, my basketball career, my relationships, the gym, podcast. There's never like, oh my God, if we tackle this one thing, we're cool.
Yeah.
Like ever. On anything I could ever think of in life. So like I had zero answer for that. And it just popped in my head because you said like, oh, what were the challenges to run a meet, or what we learn or whatever. And like, yeah, there's never like one thing. It's always like, oh, okay, we need a program, a software to run it. All right, let's find a program we like to work with, like Mini Hurdle. Oh, okay, we need to find shirts to print for these. Okay, Mini Hurdle. We need a designer. Okay, Mini Hurdle. Find that. You know, it's always just like chipping away. I've just never. There's not one thing in my life I've ever heard of or could think of that was a big wall to climb.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's never, and that I think that people get very hung up in that particular mindset.
Right.
They're looking for the magic bullet. Like if I can accomplish this one thing, then everything else is going to fall into place. And it just never works like that.
Well, because like all processes are continued. Like everything's always changing, and so you think like, I'm here in my living room. I hate my job. I want to open a gym. And so then in your head, all you think about is like gym complete.
Right.
Rather than like, okay, what do I need first? Oh, maybe a name, maybe a location. What type of gym? You know, like you just take these mini steps, and it really isn't that hard. Oh, I want to deadlift 600 pounds, but I only deadlift 400. Okay, let's deadlift 425. I want to be a world champion. I've never competed before.
Yeah.
Okay, sign up for a non-sanctioned meet, get your feet wet or whatever. You know, like it's just not. I don't know. And maybe it's because I've done so many little things like that, businesses or lifting or whatever, but I've never really had that mentality. I've never thought of like, oh, fuck this wall.
Yeah, I think that probably the time in my life that I was most guilty of that particular mindset was, my older son was sick starting from when he was 12. And we were always sort of chasing the one thing that was just going to solve it all for him, and everything was going to be better. And it never happened.
Yeah.
It was a multifactorial problem, like everything in life.
Sure.
And it needs a multifactorial solution. Some of those solutions have more leverage than others, but when it comes right down to it, it takes everything to make it. It takes a village, but that's not really what I mean.
Yeah.
But same kind of thing where it's different functions and different solutions. And anyway, we started talking about doing some kind of meet before we ever opened the gym, and with COVID restrictions and one thing or another, we really sort of put that off until recently, when we started feeling like, hey, we just have got to get some more people, some more eyes on our gym locally, and create some word of mouth, because we sort of been, flying under the radar a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
To a certain extent on purpose, but I want to talk about locally. Like, we do a reasonable amount in social media, but it's not the same thing as dealing with local folks.
Yeah, and I guess we had to pinpoint things. That's one of them. This is one of my first local businesses in 10 years.
Yeah.
So that is much different than me running a business online through my medias or socials. So that's one bigger hurdle, but it's just a different aspect. And same with running the meet. I guess if I had to pin down one thing, I know I'm jumping ahead, but one thing that was difficult is not difficult, but I was stressing on what am I forgetting? Because we haven't put on a meet in a long time.
Right.
And I've been to meets, but there's always things that you don't think of.
Yeah.
And luckily I don't think anything popped up. I think we covered most shit.
I think so too. I think that we had not really run a competition by ourselves before, and we didn't really do this one exactly by ourselves either. We had collaboration from Caffeine and Kilos.
Yeah.
And Caffeine and Kilos started with an event. The whole brand started because they did an event, and they called it Caffeine and Kilos, and it developed its own,
life. Yeah.
And
and their events
for 8 years now.
Yeah.
So
many listeners might have even been to them. Some of their events over time have been epic. They have a huge, all day long CrossFit competition, very elite level weightlifting competition, and then a deadlift competition all at the same time and the same day in the same location. I think they did that maybe 5 years running before COVID.
That,
I competed in one of them, and we've been viewers or spectators at a bunch of them. They're always a huge success, but that almost died right there. That was scary.
Mike is back spotting one of the lifters there. In
it's not
video.
like baby weight, it's 300 something pounds, and both of them are good lifters, but they just lost a little balance at the top.
Yeah,
give a little shove. I think a lot of that. Credit to Caffeine and Kilos for helping us for sure, but and obviously we chose non-sanctioned. And chose deadlift. I think one thing you and I do well is we see the end, like we were kind of talking shit on before, and then we mitigate what we can do to do it best, or maybe not easiest, but maybe easiest on the way, right? All right, it's wintertime, it's Christmas, it's all this stuff. Why are we going to throw a big money prize event right now? No, all right, let's just throw a little local thing, let's get it going. You know what I mean? Where not that we don't dream big, because we got other plans in the works, but it's a decent job of what is realistic.
Yeah,
for and still being successful. We had hundreds of people come in and out of the gym that day. Only good feedback from the lifters, and some of the lifters, probably 80% had never competed before, which was the general goal.
Yeah.
But then the other, 20%, even like Brittany, who won, one of the best lifters in the country, right? So we had a good balance of both, and both people got something from it. Brittany said she had a good time, and all the newbies had a good time getting their feet wet.
She pulled 501 and lit the place up.
Yeah, it was fun.
We did rely on Dean and Danny, particularly Dean from Caffeine and Kilos, to sort of feed us what had worked for them before. We did our signups on a website called competitioncorner.net. It is really geared toward CrossFit, functional fitness kind of stuff.
How wild is that? We did a couple quick podcasts, the Topic Thunders on one on CrossFit and also one on our Mount Rushmore of fitness folks. And the things that we don't even think about how much CrossFit affected. Like that, or like our software that we run in the gym is like yoga CrossFit based.
Right.
The software we had to run the competition is a company because of CrossFit. I was explaining to Seabass what Elite FTS was and my comparison, Rogue.
Oh, yeah.
And Rogue's not a thing only because of CrossFit. Like, Rogue has obviously stretched beyond that and grown immensely, but they started because of CrossFit. I said, oh, yeah, this Elite FTS is like Rogue, but just for powerlifters, you know? Like, CrossFit really has, like, evolutionized the game on a commercial level. It's insane.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true. So we had to adapt a little bit. Like, here's the thing. You couldn't do 2XL T-shirts.
Fat shaming assholes.
We actually had to set that up as a separate question. Yeah,
2XL is so
really
normal.
Weird. Yeah, I thought so too. That actually allows for volunteers to sign up. That's kind of cool. Only 2 of ours who signed up actually showed up. Thanks. Shout out to those of you who stayed home for whatever reason. It was kind of cold that day. I kind of get it.
Yeah,
but,
I get it. Whatever.
But, you know.
Or they might have forgot. I understand a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, I learned that emailing people doesn't always work, or they don't, necessarily respond to what you're hazy there for a second to what you're doing. But I mean, in general, it worked. A lot of people use a couple other sites like oh my god, what's the one that everyone was using for a while?
There's companies like there's just CrossFit companies that pop in my head that might even do it, like Train Heroic. They do like programming, but they might have a competition-ish.
And we theoretically could have done it with the software that we have. That we run.
Yeah,
the gym
you
with.
whip out a quick website.
It wasn't very friendly, and this actually put together a pretty friendly thing and had a lot of checklist is not really the right word, but they had so many components that you had to go through. So you had to answer a lot of questions about how your event was going to run before you could even publish the thing, which is kind of important, particularly for people who are not doing it all the time.
There's a lot of books like that, like How to Start a Business, and then as you read the book, it's basically building you a business plan.
Right.
Because you read chapter 1, then you fill out chapter 1, you read chapter 2 on marketing, and then you fill out chapter 2, you read out number 3 on demographic, and then you fill it out, and by the end you have a business plan.
Right.
Yeah. This didn't mean to do that, but
it kind of did.
Yeah. Yeah. And we already had a direction of where we're going, but if you don't, things like that can be helpful.
So yeah, we used Competition Corner. We used we actually sent email out to our own people. To our own list. We sent it out to Caffeine and Kilo's previous competitor list.
Did a little drive around town.
Yeah, put up flyers. Dean threw together a nice flyer for us. QR codes on the flyer for people to actually go directly to sign up off their phones. QR codes were dead a few years ago.
Yeah, why?
Why were they dead?
Yeah. I remember when they first popped up, they were on like buses and shit.
You had to use a separate app. And
true. Rather than a photo.
Yeah, now it's all built in.
Which is smart.
Yeah, which is totally smart.
And now it's like over. Like there's no such thing as a menu anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks to COVID, even though fomites, stuff off your hands doesn't really transmit. It transmits other stuff, just not COVID.
Sure.
So we put that together. Dean took the lead in getting a logo for the T-shirt and for everything else.
But what's cool about doing unsanctioned, and it depends on the federation you run a meet through. Otherwise, but like we can do whatever the hell we want. We could do a T-shirt. We could not do a T-shirt. We could do kilo plates. We could not do kilo plates. And so like. We probably will continue this tradition. We haven't had a post-game meeting yet, but I assume we all come together and probably do it again next November or December. We talked about the turkey tug instead of a new name. It does kind of sound good. Yeah, really.
We actually kicked around a lot of names. We met with Dean and Danny, and I think they came in with the North Pole.
Yeah, they did, which is super solid. Yeah. But the turkey tug just has too many innuendos to ignore. And it would be a little bit warmer maybe. We've had some Novembers that are a little warmer than December. So we'll see, but doing it on sanction is definitely, I think, in the books for us because I think competing And you couldn't really tell. I mean, maybe it's because you were judging and I was on the platform. Neither of us could tell, but you couldn't really tell people's nerves and stuff. But I think they would be less nervous doing something like this for the first time than a full meet.
I think for a first meet that's absolutely true.
And that was the goal, obviously.
Yeah, that was to get people to get their feet wet and get interested in competing. I did have a few people tell me that they actually, when they came in for weigh-ins, like, yeah, I'm really stressed out, like, can't sleep, whatever. I was like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Don't worry about it. There isn't a mistake so big that you could make it and everyone would laugh at you, or you would feel like a failure.
Yeah, we've seen it.
It's everything. Like, yeah.
And that's the cool thing about deadlifts too, is like the instructions are easy, and sure, some people miss the down command and this and that, a learning process, but it's way different than like a rack on rack hitting depth, like hitting a squat. Like a squat, you can fuck up a million ways. I find it way more nerve-wracking. Not only is it the first lift at a meet, so and normally in the morning, so you're physically and mentally cold. The lift's much more complicated. There's just more things to jack up. So a deadlift only meet to get your feet wet, and then go compete if you enjoyed it. Does seem like just a kind of a no-brainer. And I feel like it's not that popular. Like, it's not that common of a thing for people to run unsanctioned meets.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it necessarily is.
I don't know why.
I mean,
like, why not have a combo at all? And we've talked about it off air and maybe on air, but we rough plan is do maybe some kind of drug tested, some kind of non-drug tested, and then a non-sanctioned. Like, why wouldn't you? If all you stupid motherfuckers, someone complained the other day that, Mike, you need to shut up and stop calling people stupid. But if you're listening to this and I say you stupid motherfuckers and you take offense to it, that's your self-esteem talking. That's not me talking, because I'm saying it to stupid people listening, not you guys listening, right? Like, if I say stupid motherfucker and all of a sudden you're insulted, buddy, look in the mirror.
It's
that's not
in marketing they call that self-segmenting.
Yeah,
you see yourself and you feel it's about you. Yeah.
Right. I don't see a dick pill commercial on TV and get offended. You stupid motherfuckers. Fuck, now I lost my train of thought. God damn it. I had two rants at the same time and one got deleted by my brain.
You were talking about unsanctioned versus sanctioned. We're talking about doing. You know what? I'll take over for a second. You think about it for a minute. So having been involved in a bunch of meets in this building, if you ever remember the backyard meets of the century and so many other meets that we were involved in here, those were sanctioned meets, and they were attempted to run by the rules of the federation,
which were one of the looser federations.
one of the looser. Actually, a couple different ones. I went from like APF to SPF, and
both were quite
maybe
loose.
UPA for. I think maybe the first meet that was run here by the ST group was a UPA meet. I don't even know if UPA exists anymore. But very loose. Judges not necessarily credentialed with the federation, although they give lip service to requiring that, but not really. But are you going to have enough lifters and judges to run a meet in your gym?
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe not. We're certainly not at that point,
because it takes a certain amount of marketing.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, we'd have collaborative. I remember my stupid rant. My stupid rant was, you stupid bitches that complain about powerlifting not being popular or growing or being inclusive or all these things, and then you just prescribe yourself or describe yourself with one federation, or what you're anti-drug test or you're for drug. Fuck you. Right? Like, why wouldn't we want to run a meet from multiple federations or multiple people, knee wraps and not knee wraps? Like you're so holier than thou with your identity tied to what you put on your knees before you squat. Like, how about we just allow more people to squat? I think that'd be great for the world. How about we allow more people to deadlift and get a little bit of competitiveness, a little primal action out of them? I'm more for that. That was my mini rant, but it wasn't as passionate because I forgot.
Okay, well, I'm gonna step to the side on this one for just a second. We're talking about federations and upheaval with the IPF and USAPL and Powerlifting America, whatever the fuck that is. So much of what they're dealing with there is around drug testing.
Right. No, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not anything. Not most of the other issues, but drug testing.
Yeah.
And the Olympics that's coming to Los Angeles in 2028?
The first one with no weightlifting.
Yeah, weightlifting is currently not on the list.
Yeah.
You know why it's currently not on the list?
I assume drug testing.
Drug testing, because of drugs, period.
Yeah.
And if you think it's bad in weightlifting, think about how it is in powerlifting.
Right.
And
whether it's really bad or it's just the view, the optics of it.
Yeah.
Either way, the Olympics are about money and optics at this point. So like they're not going to involve those sports if they already have a bad vibe.
Yeah. And I mean, it's called Olympic weightlifting, and so it's not in the Olympics. I don't know what the fuck we call it. That's one thing.
Yeah, weightlifting.
But
non-Olympic weightlifting.
But beyond that, if weightlifting, after as many years as weightlifting has been involved with the Olympics, can't straighten out the drug problem, do you think that powerlifting ever has a chance at that? No.
Yeah.
No.
It's low.
So this is the point that people need to just give up on the whole federation loyalty thing, compete where they can, and support people who are willing to throw meets regardless of what federation they're doing it with.
I think powerlifting's don't quote me, but I think powerlifting's the only strength sport, or even like iron sport if you want to continue add in bodybuilding and stuff, that even has like non-tested feds.
Yeah.
Like technically I think strongman doesn't say.
Yeah.
IFBB says they test. You know what I mean though? Which is already weird to begin with.
Right.
Like we're so, we all already know so much. We just say, yeah, we're not testing.
Right.
Let's literally call it non-tested feds or non-tested meats. Like that's literally on the website.
Yeah.
Which is wild because weightlifting obviously doesn't have that. Yeah. And bodybuilding doesn't have that. Bodybuilding has tested. They have natty feds, they call them. By slang, though. That's a slang because I'm almost guarantee, I haven't checked in about 6 years, but I used to do research, and IFBB on their website says they test. And then strongman, similar thing. So you're like, what the hell? Yeah, I agree though. Like get your ego out the way. Let's have more people have fun.
Yeah.
Let's have more people be healthy and find a passion, get better, join the community. And I think it's slowly getting there. You know, for a second there, it really was like non-tested versus tested, USAPL guys versus, the IPF bros versus the others. But I think more people are kind of on the same page now that as the internet's evolved, the more people collaborate or meet on the internet and see that, like, we all just kind of like to lift weights. It's gotten better.
I would say that CrossFit provided a big tent, and powerlifting has to have a big tent if it's going to grow and go forward.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just time, guys. It's time. You're not going to be Olympics. Just compete somewhere. Yeah. Do your best. I don't give a shit if you do drugs. Some people do. Some people don't. But doing an unsanctioned meet was the thing for us because we were running it ourselves. We were providing our own judges, which was, people not
experienced lifters,
not
experienced judges. Always
exactly. If we do sanctioned meets here, we'll be hosting the meet, but we'll not be running the meet. Likely,
what's the goal?
The idea is to work with a federation that provides certified judges and, to a certain extent, equipment, and they basically run everything on the meet, and we're the hosts. We're the people who have the building. Yeah,
I assume like music and stuff kind of works like that, right? Like you have your own audio techs when you're on tour,
right?
All that, you literally just get the space, book it, and the facility just houses you, and you set up all your shit. And we're kind of looking for that.
Yeah, because I mean, if people are going for actual records, they should do it in real federations. Yeah. And those real federations should have real judges and whatever. Yeah. And, not some of the backyard shit that happened in this building in the past.
Yeah, and many meets.
And many meets.
Even still.
It's not just us, but period.
Yeah, even still. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's like what CrossFit actually did well again. And I know we're referencing them a lot, but they like have this tier to get somewhere in the games and then be the fittest man in the world by their title. And then, like, the USAPL became popular not only because it's the most strict judging and drug testing, but also because it had a ranked system to get you somewhere to be the strongest in your category. But also because they have, like, local meets where it can be a local meet. So, I think finding that balance of, like, CrossFit does that too. They have like local throwdowns. Like this meet is for fun to compete. This meet is for competitiveness, for you to have a chance to start the ladder to become the best in the world and like choose your path, And like I think that, like you said, having the bigger tent to allow both of those, and if we can even be the smallest part of that in our facility, I think that's our ultimate goal. People that lift weights casually, but they want to test themselves. All
right.
Come on in for the turkey tug. If you want to win some money and you want to prove you're the best in the world and go for a record, all right, maybe we'll put something together for some folks to throw something big here one time.
Yeah, but we're not going to be sitting in the judges' chairs doing it. We're not going to be the meet directors. Probably, maybe not.
We want it as standardized as you can. The more competitive anything gets, the more standardized it needs to be.
Right.
That's just kind of how the NBA works. That's how everything works.
Yeah, and I know that some meets, like we built into the process that we were going to not necessarily make a ton of money off this. There's there's a little surplus, but it's not like, don't get into it.
I didn't get a new car.
Yeah, don't get into it for the idea that you're going to make money being a meat promoter.
Yeah.
It's
for the community. It's for Sacramento because we don't get a lot of meets here. For sure, there's some marketing, get some eyes on our building. But to people, mostly for the people. Yeah, and that sounds stupid, but it's the truth.
So signups actually went pretty well for this. We ended up with over 40 people sign up. The fewer people than that competed. We had a few people who did not show up and some people who canceled ahead of time. A thing that Competition Corner offered that we were not involved in at all is they had meat insurance. So like you could pay a little bit more, and don't ask me how much because I didn't go through the process, so I don't know. But toward potentially getting your money back if you couldn't do the meet.
That's another thing about the non-sanctioned whatever, like $50 for a meet is nothing because if you compete in a real fed, you got to pay meat fees, you got to pay fed fees, and then you have to have the correct equipment.
Yeah.
Not that that's going to break the bank, but it does for some people. If you're a college kid, like a singlet's $100. You don't have to wear a belt, but you got to get tall socks. There's $10. Then it's $100 to become part of the Fed, which is a year-long subscription, but still. And then the meet itself is probably over $100. So you're looking at $300, $400. For your first meet ever, where we're $50 you show up.
We required long socks, and that was pretty much no straps. You could wear wrist straps. You could wear a belt.
Yeah, and we didn't even check belts or anything. Who cares? If you're trying to wear 3 belts, by all means, party on.
We didn't. I mean, I caught people in their first attempts not wearing socks. Yeah. There's this guy who is on the screen at the moment who is wearing joggers
pants,
or something.
Same shit, right?
It accomplishes the same thing.
Yeah.
What I didn't want is for people to wear tights and tear the crap out of their tights because they'd never pulled that heavy before.
They're too thin.
Yeah, and bleed all over the bar.
We had a couple bleeders, but it happens.
Yeah, and I think most of those were calluses ripping and not.
Yeah, there were more on like a hand grip.
Yeah. And then because it's the kind of meat that it is, we didn't stop people from taping over their calluses and continuing to compete. If you were in a regulation meet, you might not have been able to continue to do that.
Yeah, I don't know all the rules on that. In like sports and like basketball, like blood is such a big thing. Like if you have even a drip of blood on your jersey, you can't sub in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember like being an assistant coach for years. Like that was part of my job, like obviously coaching and running the offense and shit. And then like if someone bled, I'm running them to the bathroom. They're ripping off their jersey and I'm washing it in the sink so we can get them back in the game.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You didn't even have replacements or anything, right?
I mean we have like subs, so you sub somebody else. But you can't. You can't unless it's the same number. Because then the books are already the books, So like I literally in the bathroom turn it into a fucking maid real quick, scrubbing this shit in the sink, like I'm fucking Cinderella. I'm wearing it. Yeah.
Did you ride with hydrogen peroxide?
I think sometimes we started to have some like Tide sticks, or like whatever. Yeah, whatever you could fucking do to get it. And luckily, the years I coached, we had like these Under Armour type jerseys, so it washed out pretty good. Oh. But if you have an old school jersey or like a more cottony one, you're kind of fucked.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I never
but like
thought about that.
powerlifting's obviously a little looser than that.
Yeah.
Dudes are bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, because we were not actually doing no records are involved in this thing, and we did not have any. We didn't actually think ahead to have a woman here all the time that we were weighing in.
Yeah. So I tried to send the ladies in by duos. Like, all right, you two fucking don't let each other cheat unless they both decide to cheat. Yeah, I was taking both their words for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of them were casual too. Like dudes hopped on with hoodies on and whatever.
People were not super concerned about it. I don't think they were that close together either. And
because we didn't do weight classes again. Like we looked ahead, we knew that was just going to complicate the math. It was going to complicate all of it. We said, all right, top winners in both, and just by Wilkes for men and women, we'll just leave it there because it does.
Did we use Wilks?
I don't remember. No, I think we used dots.
Yeah, okay,
Same
we
shit.
used. That's what I thought. We used dots. Now that's what we said ahead of time. So people were concerned about things like age and whatever, that we were just not looking at all. We just ran men and women, and that was self-identified. We didn't have any.
Yeah.
We did have an issue, however. We had a last-minute sign-up on the night before.
Yeah. Kyle just clicked the wrong button.
Kyle clicked the wrong button. We had a dude in the women's division.
But just flight, actually. I think in the computer it was actually set as a male.
So it was okay. All right.
It was just in the wrong flight.
Yeah. So he lifted with the women, and it was okay. He lifted fine, and he got maybe some additional attention. I don't know. Everyone was confused. It was just one of those things. It's one of those. Something's going to happen, and that was.
Yeah, there's much worse.
Yeah, like his numbers. We looked at his numbers with the men.
Yeah,
it was not,
it was all set.
Yeah, and it did add one more lifter to the women's flight, so that was a thing. As I'm looking at it right now, a thing that is difficult to communicate to people who have not competed before is that you don't want to ramp a deadlift on your thighs.
Yeah,
you don't want to
hitching, ramping, whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah, up and down movement of the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually go over that great in the instruction. I guess I think I did okay. But I could have demoed what a bad lift was.
Probably so, and I think that...
But I don't think it would have helped. Because when you're max effort, if you don't know what you're doing and you have a bad habit of it and you're a newbie, you're gonna pull that weight however you're going to pull that weight.
Considering that we had to remind people about socks, and socks are the most basic thing in the world, communicating the thing about technique in lifting.
Yeah, it's too late.
It's too late, and it's too much, and whatever. And people just have to kind of experience it.
Yeah.
But
that's part of, again, why you spend $50 and you do this meet rather than your $400 and you don't know the rules.
Right.
Now you wasted $400.
Yeah, $50 and you got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's
and you still got the experience. It's not like we just booted your ass.
Yeah, no, this is true. There was no. Somebody was worried the day beforehand. And I said, you know what? We'll be kind. It's fine. It's don't. We're not looking to.
Which is another benefit, right? Like, not that automatically like all judges are assholes, but it's like their job.
I've certainly seen judges be assholes
for sure. Just like any other ref. Sometimes this sport is a little different. There's not a lot of back and forth in the refs. I was telling Kyle that before game. I was like, I think powerlifting is the only sport where I've never seen a judge get hassled live.
Oh.
Like basketball, I ref for a long time, a junior high that sucked.
Yeah.
And parents are ripping me, And I'm like, one, you guys don't know the fucking rules. Like, I study this like the Bible. And two, like, shut the fuck up, your kid sucks. But in powerlifting, judges normally just get ripped on Instagram.
Right.
You don't really get heckled.
Yeah.
Or umpires obviously get heckled. That's part of the culture.
Right.
I've never really seen it in person. Like, hey, that was a shit command. Like, that doesn't really happen in powerlifting.
I have seen people roll their eyes.
Sure. You're like, oh, you give them like a...
Yeah, I've certainly rolled my eyes, but it's usually because the judging in the beats that I was looking at was too loose.
Yeah, but you're not screaming at them. Hey, that was a shit press command, Timmy.
No. But the internet will.
Any other sport that's happening.
Yeah.
And so what I was getting at is that the judges, I think, are less... So in basketball, even I got a little tough. Like, I would just ignore people in the crowd. I'd act like they're not human in a way because they're just fucking screaming at me all day. Where, like, in powerlifting, if someone says, like, oh, what happened? You'd be like, oh, you went up and down. Like, you can explain it.
I tried to tell people...
Right. But that doesn't happen in other sports.
No,
so I understand why a ref in football, basketball, baseball has this guard shield and they kind of act like a shithead judge because they're getting hassled all day. Or in powerlifting, there are some shit judges, but most of them I think are cool because they understand that they're not getting attacked live.
Yeah, and I don't know. I haven't seen a bunch of different federations judging lately in the last few years. So I have no idea what it's like. I just know that I saw stuff back in the day when, people seem to pull some self-esteem out of being asshole judges.
For sure. And it was a smaller world, so like if the best lifter or top 3 lifter knows every one of the judges, there's going to be some bias. Like things happen, where like now there's probably more lifters and more judges, so it's a little bit less buddy politics going on.
Yeah, I think that's true. And a thing that is true if you were judging a meet, I was, center chair on this meet, which I didn't necessarily know for sure that I was going to do ahead of time.
No,
but
none of us did.
Pretty much obvious. Mike ran the platform. We had a absolute trooper, one of our members who's on a little bit of a break right now, Carol, who is, I'm not sure how old Carol is, but she is not a young woman, and she's strong as shit, and she helped with
One
with
of the
loading.
only volunteers that did show up.
Yeah, crazy good job. And then after the meet, she was the one like, oh, can I do anything else? She's like surveying the gym. She's like, oh, I know it's supposed to look like this, so I'm going to do this. And it's like, just go home. Nice. We'll figure it out. Like, no. Anyway, though, as a judge, you really want to make the crowd happy.
Sure.
And that's not really what your job is.
Right.
But you do want that. That's a normal human thing to want to make the crowd happy.
No one wants to fucking reject a lift.
Yeah, especially one that everyone's yelling and screaming about, whatever.
And at a casual meet like this, it doesn't feel good.
Brittany's 501 was completely clean, and I was really very happy that was the case because the whole place was rocking.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that's very common about powerlifting, and that's the thing that people really love about powerlifting too, is how supportive the environment can be.
For sure, especially live at a meet.
Yeah.
As much as we get negative about it, maybe even on this podcast sometimes, and the internet, it's much easier. But in person, it's rare you're going to find a dickhead. Most people are about it. It's cool.
Yeah, this is true. What else can I say? We got prizes from our friends at Caffeine and Kilos, obviously, and from us, from Barbell Brigade, and then a local health food place called Vibe Bar.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to all of them for supporting and showing up like always. A lot of them are friends, but even as friends, it's easy to say no. Hey, we don't have the budget. Hey, we can't do that. And so shout out to everybody for always having our back.
So our top 3 by formula men and top 3 women got prizes. I don't know if have they received them yet.
But like half of them. I've emailed as much as I could.
Okay. We also did a count the coffee bean thing with Caffeine and Kilos. Count the beans. And I have to tell you that people were a little closer than I was expecting for them to be.
I was 1,000 beans off.
It's craziness. What else can I say about this experience? We rented chairs and tables for this. That was minor hassle because the company that we rented for I think they're still living in the 80s or late 80s, early 90s.
Speaking of that, I'm in a wedding in like 2 weeks. And so obviously, 1, because my weight fluctuates a lot, and 2, because I got other priorities. I just now getting my suit. So I'm looking up like best alteration spots in SAC. And obviously there's one on every fucking corner still. But I'm like looking up reviews. I'm trying to get, I'd say 8 out of 10 don't have a fucking website.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
And then the 3 that I did email, like I was just trying to get a rough estimate, not even price, just rough estimate. Hey, I got a suit top and a jacket and pants. About how long will it take? Like, are we talking 3 weeks, 2 weeks? What's your fucking schedule look like? Only one answer to the 4, and they didn't even say anything. They said, oh, and their little button says, get a quote now. And so I'm like, just fucking say, hey, it's going to take a month, or hey, it's going to take 3 days. Just give me something. And they gave me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, when I actually was supposed to get a quote for the chairs and tables, and so I put it in, and apparently their shit is so old that .co domain names just don't work. Like the email just bounces back or something. I don't know. It was crazy. They tried to email me back. It didn't. I finally had to call them, and then I sent them the signed contract and the authorization for the credit card because they did not have that on their website either, which seems like the most basic thing now.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you use, I mean, their website's probably custom.
Old and custom.
Yeah. Because new websites, you just use somebody else's platform and all that shit's built in.
And I guess it gets down to if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But maybe fix it.
And they rent other shit, so they're probably more of an in-person place anyways. I get it. And same with the alterations. Like, I get it, but goddamn.
Yeah. The alteration thing is crazy. Well, my range at home needs to be replaced. Not replaced, but it needs to have a logic board replaced. And I filled out a online form and somebody was supposed to contact me. Nobody ever fucking did. And it's like, I can't deal with it before we're out of town, so I'll have to wait.
One of these things had a live chat. I was like, oh, perfect. That's great. Right? And didn't answer it. It says we're live. And I was like, hey, pal. What's up, dude? I said ASL, start a quick conversation with them, and I didn't get shit back.
That's great, ASL.
I said, Mikey, 33, Sacramento. They didn't even fucking care. Bastards.
That's great. Yeah, and a lot of those are bots too. So
that's what I thought, but I'll take a bot answer.
Yeah,
hey, random estimate takes about 3 days to get your work done, or something. Hey, this time of year we're really busy. Come in Jan 3rd, or some bullshit. Feed me something.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody needs to upgrade their technology. Final thoughts on the meet?
Nothing. Yeah, it was good. It was good. We'll probably aim for a warmer day, even though Sacramento's just randomly cold as shit this week.
Yeah.
Not that we're LA and it's 80 degrees all the time, but you expect like 50s, 60s in our winter, and it's been like 40, which is pretty cold for us for a daytime high. But that's just random. No one really complained, which was cool. Yeah, shout out to everybody that came. Hopefully we'll do it again.
We had the doors open for the most part.
Yeah.
It was cold, but it wasn't terrible. We pretty much started on time.
Yeah,
midday.
no, I think time it was quick since it was only 3 flights, and I don't think there was any real not that we can't improve and make things cooler, but I don't think there was any like major glaring weaknesses that we fucked up or anyone. I heard no complaints. So
we were done with the whole thing, awards and everything, essentially 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours, probably under. Yeah, weigh-ins and shit, not, but yeah.
Yeah, we did have a last minute hiccup with when we built this building. We didn't build the building, but when we built ourselves into this building, we created a PA system that was forward looking toward having meets and whatever, and it sort of failed us at the last minute, but we were able to use the speaker infrastructure that was already there. We just plugged in a different board and ran, and everything was great. From that perspective, that's something that, like PA systems and stuff like that, you need them because people can't hear what you're saying.
Right.
We had we borrowed a projector and screen. We'll probably
just buy one eventually.
Because it was a little dark, but it was functional. It worked. People could see what it was. As I said, Mike ran the platform, and we were both double checking the weights pretty much every lift to make sure that we were dead on, and that wasn't ever a problem. We never had a misload the whole time,
which is normal. Even every meet's gonna have at least one.
Right. Yeah. I guess if we had done a full meet, we might have. But it was a good experience. We'll do it again. But if we do anything that's sanctioned, like I said, we'll probably be using someone else's everything.
Yeah. I mean, why not? That's what they do. That's their job. Our job is to build a gym, and their job is to run meets around the country. So run a meet.
Other than the meet, do you have any kind of win in the last week? Anything that was like, oh man, that felt good. That was the thing.
Just the meet in general, I think, actually, because we hadn't been around a lot, and we hadn't been around like community. We probably had like 3 or 4 members compete, but a lot were from outside, whether they be they lift at our friends' gyms or the CrossFits or whatever. And so it's kind of cool to see that whole community kind of come together, and people that didn't know each other fist bumping after a lift, and that it just kind of, I guess, reminded me why powerlifting is cool as much shit as I talk about it, and how I don't like to compete. There is some magic in competitions and running meets. So yeah, it lit a little fire there, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And this. Being back in this building and having a competition going in this building, it felt a little bit the same, but it also felt a little different in a very like positive way. Yeah,
and having the room filled was obviously cool. Yeah, even though like our 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, the gym's bumping, it's not the same as having hundreds of people in there, and so it was a good vibe.
That's the last lift of the meet, and I will say that this is our last new full episode of 2021. Audio, we're gonna go to Topic Thunders while Mike and I are both on a break,
and you guys are all probably traveling.
So you got 10, 12 minutes. You can get in an episode. You can listen to us rant about whatever it is that we're ranting about. We'll be back mid-January with new full episodes. I'm going to take some of this time off to think about how we can tweak things going forward. I'm always thinking about that, but like when you're having to produce new stuff every week, it sort of tamps that down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you don't have as much bandwidth to think about. Oh, hey, if we did this or we did that or whatever, that would meet our needs and meet our audience's needs as well.
Yeah, maybe new content, maybe new seasons. Who knows?
Yep. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3sb.co as always. I'm Solid Mike wherever you want to find me. If you're in NorCal, stop on by 3rd Street Barbell, and thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, there's a new drop that we're literally this time pulling everything down except the beanies, just like right at the Christmas point. So last minute stuff, get in there, make your orders. We'll be sending those out once they're produced in January, and have a great holiday. I am at the Jim McD on all the social medias. The show is 50% facts, where percent is a word, and 50